Hey guys, Daryl Dyke, Noble Mortgage and Investments, CEO and founder, here with your weekly update. I am calling you from my car today because I'm up in Dallas checking on my Dallas office, see how everything's going here. And Dallas is pretty much the same situation as we are in Houston. People are very good about wearing their mask, but the restaurants are still opened, and I'm not sure about the bars. I think they're in the same situation as we are, but everybody's still being very careful, and so I just wanted to come up here and touch base with everybody. Anyway, everything's going well. I think for those of you that joined us last week, you saw that the June numbers came out for the MLS report, and the June numbers were fantastic. The market is moving again for sure, so all good news. The only issue we seem to be having right now is there's not a lot of inventory, and hopefully things will start to change. But I think a lot of that has to do with COVID-19. Nobody's really anxious to move or sell their house right now, and so forth. But houses are moving, so we're starting to see a lot more flips come around. Always seeing a lot of rentals. We're starting to see a lot more commercial loans. We're also seeing a lot of people taking equity out of their properties to use that to purchase other properties, seeing this as an opportunity in the market. So all good things. Can't complain about anything right now in the market. As far as the mortgage market is concerned, again, I say the same thing every week, but the rates are still holding very, very low. Very good news. So that I think had a lot to do with people buying in the month of June. Again, if you have a primary residence, you're purchasing at less than 3%. If you have an investment property, single family, 1 to 4 units, you're purchasing at less than 4%. So you can't beat these rates. So again, if you're one of those people that have waited and waited and waited, don't wait anymore. Now's the time to refinance. So give us a call, 713-680-8100. You can always email me. My email is askdarrell@noblemortgage.com. That's ask, ASKDAREL @noblemortgage.com. Hard money loans are still available. We're closing a lot of hard money loans, and again, we're still offering our special of, instead of a 6-month loan, we're offering now a 9-month loan to give you 3 extra months just because of delays and so forth. I did hear an interesting point on a deal that came across my desk this week, in that lumber costs have gone up substantially. The cost of lumber has gone up quite a bit here in the last month because the factories are not able to put out as much lumber as they normally would. So if you are doing a rehab and you're putting your numbers together, I would advise you to call your local lumber dealer, wherever you buy your lumber from, Home Depot or whoever, and check those prices, because I'm being told by a number of different investors that the cost of lumber has gone up. So that can make a big difference, especially if you're doing a huge rehab or new construction. And the one that we were looking at was new construction. So the builder came to us and said, wait a minute, I need to redo my numbers here because cost of lumber has gone up substantially. So make sure you're checking on the cost of lumber before you get into any big rehabs right now. Non-QM lenders, again, they're still holding. They're doing very well. We still have no income documentation loans. We have our debt service coverage loan. And for those of you not familiar with non-QM, again, these are lenders that specialize in working with real estate investors that do not require tax returns. The rates are going to be a little bit higher, typically in the 6 to 8% range, but you're getting a 30-year loan. You don't have to document your tax returns. All you have to have is a rental property. It doesn't even have to be leased. They go off with whatever the market rent is or your actual lease agreement. So it's an easy way to start building a rental portfolio if you don't qualify for the conventional standard. If you do qualify for the conventional standard, by all means take that route because the rates are super low. Again, less than 4% when it comes to rental properties on the conventional. But if you don't, non-QMs are available, and these lenders are doing very well with getting their businesses going again, because they shut down for about 2 months, and we were worried that they weren't going to come back, but most of them have come back, we've seen, and they're getting a little more aggressive each week that we've seen. For those of you that joined us yesterday for our Rev, we had Ashley Patton, which was great, from Patton Title, good friend of mine, and also very, very knowledgeable guy. So we had our virtual network with people get to introduce themselves and talk about things that they need, and then we always bring on a speaker. We've been doing this since COVID-19 shut down all our networking events, and so yesterday we had Ashley Patton talking about how title can get in the way of investors, what do you do in situations, how do you maneuver when there's a title problem, things like that. So very, very knowledgeable guy. So we had that yesterday. We started doing them every 2 weeks. Our next one is in 2 weeks from yesterday. We're going to have one of our investors talk about his experience and his rehabs. He's done several deals with us, so he's going to talk about his whole experience. We're going to show you some before and after photos. So make sure you go to our website, noblemortgage.com, go on events, and click to register on that event. And before then, a week from yesterday, we're actually having a webinar we have started doing our webinars again since we can't do our basics and breakfast. So our next webinar is next Tuesday with Matt Trenchard from Senna House Buyers. And Matt is going to talk about how to find a deal. We get this question all the time. How do I find a deal? So I'm going to be discussing financing, and Matt's going to be talking about how to find a deal. So if you want to join us for that, again, go to our website, noblemortgage.com, click on events and click to register, and it should be a great event. Matt's actually in my office building, which turned out great. We didn't plan it that way, but I'd been in the office for a little while, and he called me one day and said, hey, I'm moving in on the floor above you. So nice to have him close to our office as well, because we do a lot of business with Senna House Buyers, good guys. Lastly, how do I acquire my first rental property? You know, we work with a lot of new investors, and we always get these questions because they get a little overwhelmed with what's going on. There's so many moving parts, especially on your first deal. It can be a little bit confusing. So just some quick pointers on how do you do that. Number one, get qualified to figure out how much you can borrow, okay? Because if you're buying a rental property, you're going to have to obtain long-term financing at some point. So that means you're either going to talk to a bank, you have to get qualified for conventional financing, you're qualified for a non-QM loan, whatever it is. You need to understand what it is you qualify for, because until you do, then there's no sense of you even looking at deals. I mean, you can look at deals to educate yourself, but you're not going to be able to buy anything until you're qualified. So always get pre-qualified, figure out where you're going to get your money from. That's number one. Number two, narrow your focus as much as possible. Narrow your focus as much as possible. Sorry, I had a call that came in. And that means, what area do you want to be in? What price point? How many beds and baths? How many square feet? Are you worried about the lot size? Are you looking at school districts? Any and everything. As much as you can narrow it, the better off you are. So then you can start your search. Point number three, build your team. You have to have a team, right? So we talked about getting pre-approved. That's part of your team, your lender. But you also have to have a team of realtors and wholesalers who can be sending you deal flow, because a lot of investors, when they first start, they get frustrated because they can't seem to find a deal. Okay, so you have to have a lot of deals coming at you, and you have to look at a lot of deals. And the only way to do that is to build your team. Whether you're calling on realtors or getting on these wholesalers lists, whatever you have to do, get these deals coming to you so you can start looking at them right away. Number four, look at lots of deals and educate yourself, okay? Educate yourself. More and more deals that you look at, the smarter you will get. You know, I always tell everybody that I don't know how to estimate. I used to not know how to estimate the budget of a house, okay? And I couldn't build anything, quite honestly. But I know how to estimate the cost because I've looked at so many deals. I've looked at thousands of deals. So I can walk through a house in 10 minutes and be pretty close on what the budget is going to be. So you need to figure out what the budget is going to be if you're doing rehabs, and what the value is, and so forth. So educate yourselves, look at a lot of deals, and that'll help you pull the trigger a lot faster. And then lastly is be patient and execute, okay? Be patient and stay true to what you decided that you wanted to focus on. Don't fall in love with the deal. This is a business. This is not a house you're going to live in. So stay true to your focus and all the work that you put into it initially. Don't just get out there and start pulling the trigger on a deal if it doesn't fit your criteria. And then execute. Okay, we see so many people, they get so far and then they just don't pull the trigger. Pull the trigger, okay? You know, work with someone. Noble Mortgage works with a lot of new investors all the time. Be happy to point you in the right direction, help you build your team, hold your hand. You know, the other thing that we like to say is we're a second set of eyes for you. You know, we're going to inspect the property, tell you what we think it's worth, tell you what the repairs should be, things like that. So always, always, always execute at the end. And then lastly, repeat. Do it again. I guarantee you, once you buy one rental, you're going to want to buy 100 of them. So that's my tip of the day. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm getting ready to drive back to Houston myself. So everybody have a great rest of the week, and I will talk to you soon.